True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report.
Thinking our pitching rotation is set in stone is a dangerous delusion, and if you think Andrew Friedman is just sitting in his office admiring the NL pennant while the Yankees and Mets are breaking the bank, you're about to wake up in a competitive nightmare, because the situation surrounding Freddy Peralta has reached a critical boiling point in the last few hours, and Dodger Stadium needs to be his final destination. The intel circulating behind the scenes, confirmed by heavy hitters like Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon from The Athletic, is that the Milwaukee Brewers front office has finally stopped playing coy and is seriously listening to offers for their 29-year-old ace. And we are right in the middle of this hurricane, alongside the usual suspects from New York, plus Atlanta and Boston, turning this into a literal trench warfare where whoever blinks first loses the chance to land a guy who just posted an absurd 2025 season with a 2.70 ERA. If you want to understand the fine print of this market and get the raw info that national TV won't tell you, you need to follow True Blue Nation Dodgers Report and subscribe right now, because here we don't speculate, we dissect what will define our October. Peralta isn't just another available arm. We're talking about a pitcher who racked up 204 strikeouts and a record of 17 wins against just 6 losses last year. Numbers of a guy who carries a rotation on his back, and seeing the Dodgers linked to him isn't a surprise, it's a necessity, especially knowing he's on the books for just $8 million next season, which is practically chump change in today's inflated market and allows even small market teams to jump in. But this is where it gets interesting for us in the Blue Crew. USA Today's Bob Nightingale reinforced that Milwaukee is listening, and that verb in baseball usually precedes a storm. So before I break down the steep price the Brewers are asking and how that impacts our prospects, make sure you've smashed that subscribe button and hit the bell, because when this trade breaks, you'll want to be the first to know. The reality is the Brewers won 97 games, took the Central Division, and only fell to us in the NLCS, meaning they aren't rebuilding, they want blood, and that completely solely shifts the negotiation dynamic, because they don't want promises for 2030. They want to win now, and that's where our roster depth becomes both our biggest weapon and our biggest fear. The real issue here, and what might make a lot of you cringe, is the price tag Milwaukee has slapped on Peralta, because they've made it crystal clear that expectations remain high. And unlike teams that are holding a fire sale, the Brewers are demanding a return that mandatorily includes an MLB-ready starting pitcher, which puts Friedman in an extremely delicate chess position where we have to decide if it's worth sacrificing someone who is already contributing at the big league level for one guaranteed year of Peralta. Milwaukee's logic is impeccable from a business standpoint, since they know that whoever acquires Peralta isn't just renting the player for a season, but also buying the right to extend a qualifying offer at the end of the contract, and consequently receive a compensation draft pick, likely in competitive balance round A, around the 30th overall pick in 2027, which technically reimburses part of the talent you send away in the trade. This means his value is inflated not only by his stellar 2025 performance, where he was a nightmare for hitters, but also by this future asset attached to him. So don't expect us to land him by shipping off 2 double ERAA kids nobody knows. This conversation is going to involve names that hurt to lose. We are talking about bidding against the Mets and Yankees, who are desperate to answer to their fan bases, and the Boston Red Sox, who seem to have woken up from hibernation, meaning the price goes up every single day this saga drags on without a resolution. For the Dodgers fan, the core question isn't if Peralta is good, the numbers prove that, and anyone who watched the NLCS knows he has elite stuff. The question is if we are willing to hand over a young, controllable arm from our current system to a conference rival that wants to keep competing against us for the top of the National League. It's a classic win-now move, but one that carries the risk of strengthening a team we'll see in the playoffs. And with such an affordable salary, financial flexibility isn't the problem. Human capital is. I want to hear from you, Blue Crew, looking at our roster today and knowing Milwaukee wants a major league starter in return. Who would you have the guts to package and send to the Brewers to bring Freddy Peralta to Los Angeles? Or do you think the cost of reinforcing a direct rival is just too high to pay?